idondu study madadalla. You need to study about the bulk, the complete aspect of, if you're taking your agriculture topic, obviously you should complete each and every 7-pronged strategies, or you can say different dimensions. Highly important one. It is a practice where individuals or the family, it has been involved in cultivation, or I can say the land cultivation, or the tilling of the land, the tilling of the soil, to achieve my overall goal called as the cultivation. From Indian GDP ಎಷ್ಟು ಕಾಂಟ್ರಿಬ್ಯೂಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಿದೆ? ಕರ್ನಾಟಕ's GDPs. ಕರ್ನಾಟಕದ ಕೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ಇಲ್ಲಾಂದ್ರೆ Indian GDP ಗೆ it is contributing to 15 to 17%. See, first and foremost one, they were highly nomads, and ಅದಾದ್ಮೇಲೆ Mesolithic, they started to settle in a particular place. After settling, they started to go for a settled type of agriculture. Importance of agriculture to our Indian economy. Yes, this first topic clear with respect to RD, rural development, complete. Okay, second major important one will be about importance of agriculture to our Indian economy. Now, when we need to study this approach, what should be our blueprint? What should be our blueprint to study about this topic? First, should we need to study only about significance of agriculture to our Indian economy, or should we need to study about the basic concepts of agriculture? In study madbekki online. The topic says it as importance of agriculture to our Indian economy, or I can say towards our rural economy. What are different things we need to study, or purely we need to study about the importance? This is with respect to our unit 2 of GS 3 section 2, that is natural science. In our agricultural science topic, we have exactly discussed about importance of agriculture. But when we'll be studying about importance of agriculture from our rural development chapter, it will be little bit different. Whereas rest remains the same. The first and foremost one will be about the definition of agriculture, or I can say agriculture introduction. Agriculture always introduction. Now, introduction includes the three major important things. One is my definition, uniqueness, the stats or the facts or examples. We'll be studying this. Second one, we need to study about what? The origin of agriculture. Howda? We need to study about origin of agriculture, starting from Mesolithic, Neolithic, Alinda, the prominent features. The third one will be studying about the salient features of Indian agriculture. The salient features of Indian agriculture. Obviously, the Karnataka agriculture salient features will also remain the same thing. That is my salient features of Indian agriculture. Fourth one will be my significance. Only one matra kottidare, significance of agriculture to our Indian economy. Idondu study madadalla. You need to study about the bulk, the complete aspect of, if you're taking your agriculture topic, obviously you should complete each and every 7-pronged strategies, or you can say different dimensions. Different dimensions. Significance aad takshana, obviously significance bandre my challenges should follow. My challenges aad takshana my measure should follow, followed by my way forward. As soon as I write significance or importance, my 3 things should follow: challenges, the significance, or I can say the measures, as well as my way forward. Okay, alva? Done? Ignore onondagi. The first and foremost one, it is my introduction. Introduction to my agriculture. Now, when we'll be discussing about introduction to our agriculture, it majorly includes my 3 things. One is definition, uniqueness, the stats or the facts or examples. Now, what is the definition of agriculture? What definition? First, at least all students already. What is the definition of agriculture? It is, the definition says that first and foremost one, it is a practice where it is a practice where individuals are involved in individuals are involved in cultivation of land. It is a practice, it's a practice which are involved in the cultivation in cultivation ಮಾಡ್ತಿರಲಿ cultivation of land, cultivation of the land, followed by the soil with respect to achieve what farming, to achieve are the cultivation of the plants, the animal rearing, etc. As simple as that. The first and the foremost one, it's a practice of cultivating. It is a practice of cultivation of the land, the soil, to achieve what? To achieve the overall goal of our agriculture. What's the overall goal? That is cultivation of the rearing, cultivation of plants, as well as rearing of animal husbandry. Rearing of animal husbandry. Okay, Alva? Yes or no? Definition, is it clear? Highly important one. It is a practice where individuals or the family, it has been involved in cultivation, or I can say the land cultivation, or the tilling of the land, the tilling of the soil, to achieve my overall goal called as the cultivation of the plants and the rearing of the animals. Rearing of animals. Okay, one ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ example ಕೇಳಲ್ಲ or question ಕೇಳಲ್ಲ prelims. If a farmer is going for both plants as well as animal rearing, what type of farming we call it as? It is mixed farming. We call it as mixed farming. Multiple farming andra? Different varieties of crops. Whereas mixed andra, it is side by side. I'll be cultivating the plants also. I'll be rearing the animals also. Bracketally, you can talk it as. We call it as what? We call it as. That is. We call it as mixed multiple. It is. We call it as mixed farming. We call it as mixed farming. Mixed is nothing but both. Mix ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ. Yes. ಇಲ್ಲಿ highly important one. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ನೋಡಿ mix ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ animal rearing ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಬರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ waste ನ we use it for development of plants. Whereas after the death and decay of the plants, that will be used as a fodder for the animals. It is again a sustainable process. ಹೌದಲ್ವೋ? Sustainable process. ಈಗ take an example of ರಾಗಿ. ರಾಗಿ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ? ರಾಗಿ ಭತ್ತ ತಗೊಂಡಾದ್ಮೇಲೆ that raw will be used as it is a fodder for animals. Fodder for animals. That is my definition. Definition okay now? Definition clear? Second major important one, the uniqueness. Second major important one, that is the uniqueness. Now what is the uniqueness about agriculture? Uniqueness ಏನಪ್ಪ? Some most effective keywords ಬೇಕಂಗಲಿ. Don't say primary sector. Okay. What can be the uniqueness? Food safety? Or can I say based on this our complete civilization is dependent? Yes or no? It is nothing but agriculture is considered to be the backbone of any civilization. It is considered to be what? It is considered to be the backbone of any civilization. All Indian civilization baribadi. Okay, it can be any civilization. It's the backbone of Indian civilization, where humanity meets environment. Where humanity meets environment. Okay, alva? Where humanity meets our environment, or I can say as simple as that, it is considered to be the bedrock of any civilization. It can be considered to be what? The bedrock, or I can say the fundamental aspect. Itra keywords on kade barditkondo you should use everywhere. It is bedrock, or I can say it's a fundamental aspect of any civilization, or I can say or any economy I can say. Sir, nange idella ishta agtilla antandre you can talk about it is the bedrock of rural development sector. Bedrock of rural development sector, or I can say the dominant workforce of agriculture, or I can say dominant workforce of rural are dependent on agriculture. Illi beda yakandre alli starts barithivalla. ಅದಕ್ಕೋಸ್ಕರ. Yes. Now, what can be the third one? What can be the third one? It is my stats or factual examples. Online, I hope you guys are understanding. At least, Osubru. Okay, now. Yes. ಅರ್ಥ ಆಗ್ತಿದೆ ಆನ್ಲೈನ್? ಜಸ್ಟ್ ರಿಪ್ಲೈ ಮಾಡಿ. ಇಫ್ ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಎಸ್ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಓಕೆ, ವೈ ಅಂತ ಕೊಡಿ, ಆರ್ ಎಲ್ಸ್ ನೋ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ನೋ, ಎನ್. Yes. I can be slow at least. Okay. Yes. Okay. Okay. Third one is stats or factual examples. What can be stats? Stats, can we talk about contribution towards GDP? Contribution of agriculture towards GDP is contribute ಮಾಡ್ತಿದೀವಿ. It is with respect to GDP ಅಂತ ನೋಡೋದಾದ್ರೆ, with respect to GDP from Indian GDP ಎಷ್ಟು ಕಾಂಟ್ರಿಬ್ಯೂಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಿದೆ? ಕರ್ನಾಟಕ's GDP. ಕರ್ನಾಟಕದ ಕೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ಇಲ್ಲಾಂದ್ರೆ Indian GDP ಗೆ it is contributing to 15 to 17%. 15 to 17% of agriculture or GDP comes from agriculture out of 100. Whereas Karnataka, it is less than 15%. It is 14% has been contributed towards Karnataka's GDP because and more than 60% services, sir. More than 60% services. And that's the reason. More than 60% towards the services. Exactly online. I hope nimge idea siktide iga. Exactly. Second one can also be the population also. Second one can also be population also. Your population ಬಗ್ಗೆ ನೋಡೋದಾದ್ರೆ, can I say according to recent economic survey? According to recent economic survey, that is 48%. 48% of India's population who are dependent on agriculture. According to recent economic survey 2022 to 23, which says that 48% of India's population, they are dependent on which sector? They are dependent on, I can say exactly population baribodu, but we are talking majorly about agriculture alva. We can't write 65% or 70%. ಅರ್ಥ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ ಇಲ್ಲಿ. We are not talking about rural, we are talking about agriculture sector. ಅದಕ್ಕೋಸ್ಕರ specific data agriculture. Yes or no? We can't write 65% or 75%. It is Devika, I hope ಒಂದು ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಇದು ನೋಡಿ cautious ಆಗಿರಬೇಕು. Each and every keyword matters. Each and every the keyword or the facts matters. Specific. Our topic is, that is Indian agriculture. So I can't write about rural. Yes. The third one, sir, ನಂಗೆ ಇದು ಇಷ್ಟ ಆಗ್ತಿಲ್ಲ, ಇವೆರಡು ಇಷ್ಟ ಆಗಿಲ್ಲ, ಆಲ್ರೆಡಿ ಹೇಳ್ಬಿಟ್ಟಿದ್ದೀನಿ, ನಂಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತಿದೆ ಇಲ್ಲ ಅಂದ್ರೆ. Third one can be the rank of the different agricultural products. Agricultural products ಅಲ್ಲಿ India has ranked number 1 with respect to milk. India ranks number 1 with respect to ಏನಕ್ಕೆ? Milk. So ನಂಗೆ ರ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಗೊತ್ತು ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ, it contributes to 24% of world milk production. It contributes to, according to the FAO, EPFO question now, last year EPFO question, that is according to Food and Agricultural Organization, according to the Food and Agriculture Organization, India has been ranked first. India is being ranked first with respect to ಏನು? With respect to milk production. ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ highest state ಯಾವುದು? ಕರ್ನಾಟಕ, ಗುಜರಾತ್, ಮತ್ತೆ it is UP. Highly important one. UP contributes highest. UP contributes to the highest production of milk. Yes. Sir, ಇದು ಇಷ್ಟ ಆಗಿಲ್ಲ ನನಗೆ. ಕೆಲವು ಸೋಲ್ಸ್ಗೆ ನನಗೆ ಇಷ್ಟ ಆಗಲ್ಲ, ಬಟ್ ಅವ್ರು ಬರ್ಸ್ಬೇಕಲ್ಲ ನಾವು. ಬಟ್ ಇದು ಇಷ್ಟ ಆಗಿಲ್ಲ ಸರ್ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ, we can talk about the second contribution, that is vegetables and fruits. With respect to vegetables and fruits, India is ranked second. Highly important Karnataka example idu. It is with respect to vegetables and fruits, or I can say horticultural crops, India is ranked second. India is ranked second at the global level. Second at the ಗ್ಲೋಬಲ್ ಲೆವೆಲ್ ವಿತ್ ರೆಸ್ಪೆಕ್ಟ್ ಟು ವೆಜಿಟೇಬಲ್ಸ್. ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ ಹೈಯೆಸ್ಟ್ ಡಾಮಿನೆಂಟ್ ಒಂದು ಯಾವ್ದಪ್ಪ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಕರ್ನಾಟಕ. ಹೈಯೆಸ್ಟ್ ಡಾಮಿನೆಂಟಿಂಗ್ ಸ್ಟೇಟ್ ವಿತ್ ರೆಸ್ಪೆಕ್ಟ್ ಟು ವೆಜಿಟೇಬಲ್ಸ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಫ್ರೂಟ್ಸ್, ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಮೈ ಕರ್ನಾಟಕ. ಏನಕ್ಕೆ ಬರ್ಸಿದೀನಿ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಕರ್ನಾಟಕ ಎಕ್ಸಾಂಪಲ್ ಕೊಟ್ಟಾಗ ಇಟ್ ಶುಡ್ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ರ್ಯಾಂಕ್ಸ್. ವಿತ್ ರೆಸ್ಪೆಕ್ಟ್ ಟು ಥರ್ಡ್ ಒನ್, ಬಟ್ ಬರಿಬೇಡಿ, ಬಟ್ ಜಸ್ಟ್ ಅ ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್, ವಿತ್ ರೆಸ್ಪೆಕ್ಟ್ ಟು ದ ಅಗ್ರಿಕಲ್ಚರಲ್ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪೋರ್ಟ್ಸ್. ಅಗ್ರಿಕಲ್ಚರ್ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪೋರ್ಟ್ಸ್ಗೆ ಎಷ್ಟನೇ ರ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇದೀವಪ್ಪ ನಾವು? ವಿ ಆರ್ ರ್ಯಾಂಕ್ಡ್ 9th with respect to agricultural exports. ಅದಕ್ಕೋಸ್ಕರ ಬೇಡ ಇದು, ಬಟ್ ಬರ್ಕೊಂಡು ಇಟ್ಕೊಂಡಿರಿ. It is we have been ranked 9th with respect to agricultural exports. ಇದು ರ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಹಿಂಗ್ ಬರಿಬಾರ್ದು, ಬಟ್ ಹೆಂಗ್ ಬರಿಬೇಕು ಗೊತ್ತಾ? 9th ಅಂತ ಬರಿಬಾರ್ದು. We need to write it as it contributes to 2.5% of agricultural export. ಇವಾಗ ಗೊತ್ತಾಗಲ್ಲ ಎಕ್ಸಾಮ್ ನನಗೆ 2.5 ದೊಡ್ಡದು ಅನ್ಸುತ್ತೆ. That is, India contributes to 2 to 2.5% of agricultural exports. Agricultural exports at world level. Okay, but not required. But keep a watch. Okay, Alva. Yes, highly important one. We have discussed about GDP contribution, population contribution, rank contribution, export contribution, etc. Yes, highly important one. Saka idu. Saka Alva. This is my first and the foremost one. Will be my introduction. That is nothing but agriculture as a practice of the cultivation of the land or the cultivation of the soil for finally for cultivation of plants and rearing of animals. We call it as our mixed form. The uniqueness about agriculture, it is nothing but it's a bedrock, it is the backbone. Idella baribodu. Backbone highly important one, but backbone ellaru baritare. Back, the bone of Indian economy, backbone of any civilization, that is bedrock, fundamental aspect, or I can say the core aspect of the civilization. Core aspect of civilization, where all the civilization resides on the nutrition that is from agriculture. Yes or no? That is from agriculture. With respect to the second one or the third one, the stats and facts examples, we have talked about GDP, population, followed by the ranks. Okay, Alva. Done. Second one. Second blueprint, Alva. Second one will be my origin. That is origin of agriculture. Origin of agriculture, or I can say evolution of agriculture. Evolution of agriculture. ಈಗ evolution ಬರಿಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ, now can I divide this agriculture into major prominent, you can say, features? Now ಯಾವಾಗಪ್ಪ ಶುರು ಆಯ್ತು agriculture? When it became more prominent? Agriculture became more prominent during prehistoric era. Prehistoric era time ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ? During when? Exactly, it is prehistoric is nothing but, that is prehistoric is nothing but there is no written evidences to prove the history. There is no written evidences to prove the history. How do you know? Highly important one. Next comes my proto history. Proto andra evidences ಇದೆ. ಮತ್ತೆ ಹಿಸ್ಟ್ರಿ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಏನು? History. First, what is prehistory, the proto-history, and the last one, it is the present history. Again, present history it is divided into three things: ancient, medieval, and modern. Now, ಅರ್ಥ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ, prehistory ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ there is no written evidences. Scripts ಏನು ಇಲ್ವೇ ಇಲ್ಲ. There is no scripts at all. This is as simple as that. Stone age, whereas illi or in the prehistorical, again it is divided into three things. One is Paleolithic, Mesolithic, and Neolithic. Paleo antandre old age. Next is Meso is nothing but middle age. Recent one it is called as Neo antandre new age. Okay alva, alli nodona elli contribute ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಮಾಡಿದೆ ಅಂತ. Second one comes my proto history. ನಮ್ಮ ಹತ್ರ written evidences ಇದೆ, but ಅದನ್ನ ಓದಕ್ಕಾಗ್ತಿಲ್ಲ ನಮ್ಮ ಕೈಲಿ. There is a written evidences, but we are not able to decipher. Examples kodi. IVC. Proto history majorly comes my IVC. Adadmele it is my history. We have also written evidences. At the same time, that evidences we are aware. Yen bardidare adu namge gottagtide. Starts from Vedic civilization. It is purely history. It is purely about history. Okay, Alva. Exactly online, exactly Devika, exactly Anusha, that's great. Done. Okay, now with respect to agriculture origin matadadre, during which period does origin of agriculture started, and which is a major important site with respect to agriculture? It is Paleolithic, Neolithic, huh? Okay, IVC. Okay, huh? Mesolithic. That is, Ili, I said it is of three important, you can say, three important stages. One is my paleo, meso or middle and the recent one neo or the recent one Neolithic. Neolithic and a stone anta. Lithic is nothing but stone. Now, with respect to Paleolithically, there was just a wanderers. So nomads they were just nomads. But with respect to Mesolithic, the stones become shorter. Stones become so shorter, and Mesolithically, the bone tools came into power. But the bone tools andre no, it is sharper also. It is lighter in weight also. But after the origination of, I can say the lighter tools, will they be quiet? They started to cultivate the land. Yavaga, not in the initial phases. That is after, or I can say after end of my Mesolithic and the origination of my Neolithic. Endally plus before, or I can say near to my Neolithic, a period of time there is an origination of agriculture started. Agriculture start adaginda, we call it as Neolithic revolution. Nodi agriculture shuru adaginda, or after the initiation of agriculture, that is settled agriculture admele, we call it as this Neolithic phase as Neolithic revolution. We call it as Neolithic revolution. Hope you're getting. See, first and the foremost one, they were highly nomads, and Mesolithically they started to settle in a particular place. After settling, they started to go for a settled type of agriculture, and this phase we call it as the Neolithic revolution. Yes, highly important one. We call it as Gordon Child. He called it as Neolithic revolution. Enix sir Neolithic revolution? Because settled agriculture bandre, everything decides. Settled agriculture followed by settled villages. Settled agriculture there'll be settled villages. If there is settled villages, obviously the people start to locate in and around the farms. And followed by the dynastic initiation. Yes or no? And this initiation point, this Gordon Child called it as what? A Neolithic revolution. We call it as Neolithic revolution. Okay, alva? This is origination. Sir, evidences el sikkide antandre, evidences for the first Indian agriculture or the first villages elli antandre, it is in Mehergarh. It is in Mehergarh. Where is Mehergarh? It is Pakistan. It is in Mehergarh, Pakistan. Evidences for Indian agriculture Mehergarh, which belongs to both Mesolithic as well as the end of Mesolithic and the initiation of the Neolithic. Illi shuru aaytu ashte, but there was no surplus agriculture. Exactly. Pakistan rise hak anta evidences sikkide. It is majorly the initiation point. But with respect to IVC ಬಗ್ಗೆ ನೋಡೋದಾದ್ರೆ, with respect to my proto history ನೋಡೋದಾದ್ರೆ, with respect to my proto history ಏನೇನು ಎವಿಡೆನ್ಸ್ ಸಿಕ್ಕಿದೆಯಾ ನಮಗೆ? During proto history, during pre-history, okay, the evidences was Mehergarh. ಒಂದು ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಇಂಟಿ ಕೊಡಿ ಅಷ್ಟೇ. origin with respect to agriculture in development. What about IVC? What about during IVC? What is the evidences? Again, evidences because there were huge granaries. Even in Harappa also, Mohenjo-daro also, and even in Lothal also, there was a rice storage factory. Lothal, it is in Gujarat. And even in Gujarat also, there is an evidences to prove that this IVC people cultivated different types of crops. And with this crops, they should trade. Example, as simple example as that, cotton. Cotton ito. As simple example as that, it is the rice has been stored, wheat, the barley. Yes or no? Examples bari boda. Yes, it is. The examples from different sites, Harappa, Mohenjo-daro, the different types of granaries, IVC ಎಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ ಆಗಿದೆ ಅಂತ ಅನ್ಕೋತಾ ನಾನು. ಆಗಿದೆ ಅಲ್ವಾ? That is IVC ಎಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ ಗೊತ್ತಿರುತ್ತೆ. It is Indus Valley civilization. It's also called as Harappan civilization. Its evidences says that both from Harappa, Mohenjo-daro and Lothal, and even from Kalibangan also, there is an evidences of the rice husk, evidences of barley, evidences of cotton. Cotton na Sindon anta karita idru. It is Sindh hinge bantu andre Sindon anta. Sindon. This Mesopotamian civilizations used to call Indian civilization as Sindon civilization anta. Inikandre for the first time this IVC people cultivated cotton. IVC people cultivated cotton and our ಏನಂತ ಕರೀತಿದ್ರು ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಇದನ್ನ Sindon anta. And the region one was staying there, we called as Sindon or Sindh. Present day Sindh, it's in Pakistan. Present day Sindh. Exactly this. It is the cotton, the barley and rice. But wheat very very. But there is no adequate evidences to prove that there was a wheat cultivation. There is a wheat cultivation. Yes. But itto anta ಕೆಲವರು ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ but ಇಲ್ಲ ಅಂತಾರೆ. ಬೇಡ but controversy ಬೇಡ. But at least rice was there, barley, what by cotton was exactly prominent. Okay alva? Yes. Again illu kuda there was surplus production but intense production. Intense production ಯಾವಾಗಪ್ಪ intense production ಶುರು ಆಗುತ್ತೆ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ it is in my history. It is in my history, or I can say it is in my Vedic civilization. It is in my Vedic civilization. Enike Vedic civilization become more prominent, or why agriculture become more prominent? Because identification of iron. Identification of iron in the nenne intkodi nanu. It is due to identification of the iron. Identification of iron during ಎಷ್ಟು century? During 1500 century BC. That is identification of that is iron took place. Identification iron adre obviously will they be quite. They came up with different equipments, iron equipments for tilling, for cultivating, for carrying elladukku. Yes, illinda obviously agriculture took place. Agriculture become more prominent activation, or I can say agriculture become more I can say occupation with respect to the development. Agriculture aad takshana they'll be settled, you can say life, they'll be settled life. Settled life andre origination of villages and origination of villages antandre obviously our rural development came into power. Rural development, one war struggling with respect to the development aspects, mostly the marginalized sections, we need to develop them. We need to develop the aspects. Okay alva? Highly important one, origin. The third major important one, okay alva? Done. Fourth major important one, ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಇನ್ನೂ ಬೇಜಾನ್ ಬರೀಬಹುದು during British ಸಂಗೀತ, during modern, but not required. ಅಷ್ಟು ಬೇಕಾಗಿಲ್ಲ. Just initiation ಸಾಕು. Yes. Next major important one, the third major important one. What are the salient features of Indian agriculture? The third major important one will be about what? It is about the salient features. The salient features of Indian agriculture. That is my third one. That is my third one. What is the salient features of Indian agriculture? ಏನು ಬರೀತೀರಪ್ಪ salient features? First, what are the first and the foremost salient features or characteristic features about the agriculture, or as simple as that, Indian agriculture? Source of livelihood beda first ಯಾವ್ದು ಬರೀಬೇಕು? Exactly, the first and the foremost one, this Indian agriculture, it is dependent on monsoon. ಹೌದಾ? It is monsoon. But it's sub point ಬರ್ದಾಗ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಎರಡೇ ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ ಬರೀಬೇಕು ಇಲ್ಲಿ. As simple as that. First one, explanation about monsoon. It is monsoon dependent. It is monsoon dependence. ಇಲ್ಲಿ first point ಏನು ಬರಿಬಹುದು? First point ಏನು? I can say approximately 60% of our Indian agriculture. Approximately what? Approximately 60% of our Indian agriculture, it is dependent on what? Dependent on the Indian monsoon. Dependent on Indian monsoon. Examples kodi ಇಲ್ಲಿ ನೋಡೋಣ. Examples ಏನು ಕೊಡ್ತೀರಾ? Examples can be the cultivation of groundnut, the cultivation of different types of pulses, different types of oil seeds. ಯಾವ cultivate ಮಾಡ್ತೀರಿ? Which are majorly dependent on monsoon, which are majorly the rain-fed crops ಅಂತ ಕರಿತೀವಿ, which majorly we call it as rain-fed crops, which majorly we call it as rain-fed crops. Okay alva? Which majorly it is a rain-fed crops. Exactly, Anusha, exactly. It is great. Okay, the first one, it is my monsoon. Second one, second one. Basic. At least, nodi, whenever you are writing about any content, it should be generalistic in that, it should be specific. Mechanization baribodu. But adikkinta chanagi, can I go for subsistence agriculture? Yes or no? Barikagalva? Hello, sir. Majorly subsistence. Ninge innu prove ಮಾಡಬೇಕು ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ it is our small land holdings. I said 86% of Indian agriculture is smallholder. If it is smallholder, do you think there will be commercial? No. It is majorly for their own consumption, but extra surplus is being sold. But commercial ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಏನು ಗೊತ್ತಾ? Majorly cultivate ಮಾಡದೆ ಸೇಲ್ ಮಾಡೋದಕ್ಕೆ. Subsistence agriculture ಸೇಲ್ ಮಾಡಲ್ಲ ಅಂತಲ್ಲ, ನನಗೆ ಎಷ್ಟು ಬೇಕೋ ಅದನ್ನ ಇಟ್ಕೊಂಡು I will sell the surplus. Yes or no? It is the second major important one. Indian agriculture, it is based on subsistence. It is based on, that is subsistence farming. Subsistence farming. Now, what do you mean by subsistence farming? Exactly, explain ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ. It is, okay. It is subsistence farming. It is nothing but the cultivation or the farming which is majorly cultivated to meet my and my family needs. That is, the farming is nothing but it has been cultivated to meet the individual and the family needs. And the extra surplus is being sold in the market. Extra surplus has been sold in the market for sale. Sold in the market for a sale. Yes, Sai, is it clear now? Subsistence agriculture. Bariboda? Subsistence agriculture. Sir, subsistence agriculture ಯಾಕೆ ಹೋಗ್ತಿದ್ದಾರೆ? ಏನಕ್ಕಪ್ಪ ಹೋಗ್ತಿದ್ದಾರೆ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಮೂರನೇದು ಬಂದ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು it is small land holding. It is small land holding. See, ನಾನು ಏನು ಬರೆಸ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀನಿ ಅಂತ ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಅರ್ಥ ಆಗ್ತಿದೆ ಏನಾದ್ರು? ಏನು ಅಪ್ರೋಚ್ ಫಾಲೋ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀನಿ ಅಂತ? ಏನು ಅಪ್ರೋಚ್? First, what approach? Illa. See, stakeholder ಆಗ್ಬಾರ್ದಲ್ಲಿ farmer ಅಷ್ಟೇ ಅಲ್ಲ majorly. Several features. I am following evolutionary approach. Evolutionary ಅಂದ್ರೇನು? Starting from the inputs. First, land, soil, fertilizers, credit. If I want to cultivate any of the crop, obviously ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ? First, irrigation, water ಬೇಕು. Second one, ಯಾವ type of agriculture? Third one, land in kelsa. Yes or no? Different types of inputs which have been used in agriculture. On our basis, I am giving you the salient features. Yes or no? Yes. Now can I elaborate on the small land holdings? That is according to Ministry of Agriculture. According to Ministry of Agriculture. Ministry of Agriculture, which says that what? Which says that it is 86%. 86% of the agriculture, 86% of the farmers, they are holding less than hectares. It is less than 2 hectares. Less than 2 hectares. Illinnu beku sir evidences antandre, it is according to recent agricultural census data 2015. Recent agriculture data census, that is 2015, says that 86% of the farmers, they are small and marginal. Small and marginal antandre, it is less than, they are holding less than 2 hectares. Acres alla. It is less than 2 hectares of the land. 2 hectares of the land. 2 hectares of the land. Okay. Fourth one. Thing from agriculture. Okay, take 10 seconds. Okay, see that comes from the inputs. Ella bariboda hoga. Low mechanization, lower credit, all the challenges. Salient features. Traditional? I tell you subsistence. Subsistence is nothing but traditional farming. Try. Can I say, monocropping illa. Ill monocropping. Rice and wheat. Bari bolo. But adkinda munche, can I say diverse crops can be cultivated in India? See, challenge is monocropping. That does not mean that India is not capable to produce different crops. We are capable, but the challenge here is we are monocropping. But the fourth major important one will be about either we can go for mixed farming, either fourth one mixed farming, that is nothing but cultivation of the plants also at the same time, animal rearing also, or else we can write about India is blessed with what? The diverse type of geography. Diverse type of geography, and no, it is, we have the potential to cultivate different types of crops as well. Yes or no? Okay, alva satisfied agtidiya, artha agtidiya hogli. Yes, it is the fourth one. You can write it as the cultivation of diverse crops. The cultivation of the diverse crops. Diverse crops. Nothing but what? Nothing but India is blessed with what? No. India is blessed with a varied geography. Varied geography to cultivate different types of crops. One kade we can go for water intensive crops like paddy, like sugarcane. On the other hand, we can also go for cultivation of the different, like rain-fed crops or dryland farming. That's the dichotomy we have. One kade tumma neer jasti the flooding. We are going for water-intensive crops, and on the other hand, we are going for the rain-fed crops. Don't you think that's a dichotomy? That's the differences. Dichotomy or differences? Obviously. Either you can also mention about diverse crops, only a dominance of a few crops. That is nothing but dominance of a cereals. Dominance of what? That is a cereals. Cereals. Okay. It is the dominance of the cereals. Dominance of cereals. Now, what do you mean by cereals? What do you mean by cereals? Is it good for health? How do you know? Don't say yes or no. Cereals better than beke. But eating too much of cereals is also dangerous. Okay, Alva. Now, what do you mean by cereals? What do you mean by cereals? Cereals is nothing but a crops which releases a huge glucose content, or I can say carbohydrate, which releases dominant carbohydrate. We call it as cereals. Yado jaasti carbohydrate release madado. It is rice and wheat. Okay, chapati indra olledu sir antaralla adu cereals. Okay, that is promotion done by this diabetes hospitals. Chapati tini jasti. Actually, chapati is more dangerous than rice. Of getting. Okay. ಅದಕ್ಕೋಸ್ಕರ ಮಾರ್ಕೆಟಿಂಗ್ ಗೆ ನೀವು ಬಕ್ರ ಆಗಬಾರ್ದು. You should think, you should search, you should do some research. That is dominance of the cereals, majorly my rice, or can say or rice, or I can say a wheat. Rice as well as a wheat. Nam local ಏನ್ ಬೆಳಿತಿದ್ವಲ್ಲ, that is called as millets. That is more good. ಹಾಗಂತ ಬರೀ ಮಿಲೆಟ್ಸ್ ತಿನ್ನೋದಲ್ಲ. ಏನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ ಗೊತ್ತಾ, 3 ಟೈಮ್ ಮುದ್ದೆ, or I can say 3 ಟೈಮ್ ಜೋಳ, ನಾರ್ತ್ ಕರ್ನಾಟಕದಲ್ಲಿ. Yes, see that should not be there. It should be a complete food. Complete food ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಎಲ್ಲ ತಿನ್ಬೇಕು. Like for example ತರಕಾರಿ, fruits, cereals, the millets ಎಲ್ಲ ತಿನ್ಬೇಕು. ಓಕೆ ಅಲ್ವಾ? ಸ್ಮೈಲ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ನಾನು ಏನ್ ಮಾಡ್ಲಿ? ಓಕೆ, ನಾಳೆ ಊಟ ಹಾಕ್ಸ್ತೀನಿ ಬಿಡಿ ಹೋಗಿ. That is complete food. Okay, balanced diet. Okay. Then it is the dominance of the cereals. And the last one, it is my mixed farming. Last one, the features of the Indian agriculture, that is the mixed farming. Mixed farming ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಏನಪ್ಪಾ? It is the cultivation of plants and livestock rearing. Livestock rearing is the integral part of Indian agriculture. ಏನು ಲೈಕ್ ಹಸು ಮೇಯಿಸ್ತಿರ್ತಾರೆ, ಹಾಲು ಕರ್ಕೋತಾರೆ, ಕೋಳಿ ಮೇಯಿಸ್ತಿರ್ತಾರೆ, ಕೊಯ್ಕೊತಿರ್ತಾರೆ ಭಾನುವಾರ. ಸರ್ ನೋ, integral part, that is dairy, meat and other animal based products. Okay alva? Yes, highly important one. This is my salient feature with respect to Indian agriculture. Don't you think this salient features can be applied towards our Karnataka also, our state also? Madboda ilvo? First and foremost, monsoon dependent, obviously yes. Second one, can I say subsistence agriculture? Obviously yes. Third one, can I say small landholding? Obviously correct adunu. Fourth one, the diverse crops, correct. Fifth one, dominance of cereals, haudu. Or by mixed farming kuda haudu. Yes, done. Highly important one. Adukoskara I said salient features ashte. It can be India also, it can be Karnataka also. On ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ data facts change ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. If you are writing rice and paddy ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಇಲ್ಲೊಂದು ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ sugarcane ಅದು ಮಾತಾಡ್ತೀವಿ. Sugarcane as well as paddy. Done. Okay alva? Yes.